The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss chemicals versus organic chemicals. And is the green industry as green as they say it is? Our guest is author Graham Gardner will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Very appreciative of you joining us and allowing us to be a part of your day. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2024 through our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. At the Season 8 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay or in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for being with us. If you want to be part of the program, you can certainly do such by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can jam your fingers in your phone and dial us up at toll-free, coast-to-coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Just if you got a question, we'll get back to you. If you can't get you on the air, or just let us know where you are consuming the program from. Before we get into that program that you're going to consume, we're going to have this week's joke of the week.
What do you call a cheerleading herb?
Something happy herb, no.
An encouragement.
An encouragement?
Yeah, encouragement.
Oh, encourage, play on words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jacket, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
So, organic chemicals versus organic chemicals. When people hear the term, well, it's organic, that must mean it's safe, and they don't use it. They don't use anything. Yeah,
or it's like it's not. It's I don't know if like safe is the word, but it's not going
more acceptable.
More acceptable
in your dietary needs. Oh, it's organic, so
or just like
I'll accept the higher cost because I know it's been prepared or grown in a better situation than the big farm does.
All right, so we're going to bust some myths here, and I think the biggest one is that organic farms don't use pesticides. And there was a myth for a long, long time that organic meant pesticide-free, you won't have any pesticides, and there are actually over 8,000 branded pest control products approved for organic farming, and this is for the United States, for the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, for their organic program. And this is the organic program that regulates foods like the USDA organic label. So these farms go through this approval, but they still use pesticides. So are pesticides the worst things for you? No, just like humans, plants do need protection from diseases, pests, etc. So they are useful for protecting the plants. Now they might use less, they might use different ones, but they still do use the pesticides.
Right, and they're, like Nat Green Products, they have a proprietary weed killer. It's natural, more natural. It's not, it's not glyphosate. There is a when you talk about chemicals, there is chemicals that they use. Like you said, they have to go through a rigorous approval process by the USDA in order to justify, or in order to be able to use certain things and still be able to label it as organic.
It is done by, responsible trained professionals. It is highly regulated, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening.
Correct.
So the other one is that organic foods are safer than conventional, non-organic. it's discovered that the USDA reported in 2022 that 99% of samples tested had pesticide residues well below the benchmark set by the U.S. EPA.
You mean the benchmark, the organic was essentially less chemical laced than the non-chemical or non-organic?
No, it was the pesticide residues on non-organic, unconventional.
Right.
Yeah. Is that what you asked?
Right. That the organic was technically by stature a little bit better because it didn't have the chemical traces on it.
Right. And so you need to understand that they are, the USDA, the EPA, et cetera, are making sure that your food is safe. So you shouldn't fear conventional produce. And either way, you should wash it, especially things that are like soft bodied, like berries, grapes. What else is like soft bodied? That doesn't have a peel, basically. You're supposed to wash it. So, yeah.
And we're always going to consume this in some fashion because we are not, everybody but 4 people in the country is able to grow every single thing that they need. So there's going to be some consumption of whether farmer's market or a grocery store in whatever capacity to meet our needs.
Right. So that's another one. And then another one is organic foods are more nutritious. And so organic does not mean healthier. So
in a loose terms, it means it grew in a different manner with potentially less chemicals.
Right, but a lot of stuff has organic on the label. Organic gummy bears are not going to provide you the same nutrients as an organic potato.
Right.
So just because it says organic, a lot of times things were, especially it seems like in the mid 2000s through even like 2020, like the early 2005 to 2020, a lot of things were like, oh, this is organic or natural, and it was like a buzzword, and you're like, it's okay, it's better for me. And that's not true.
Well, yeah, and I mean, these companies cannot just go, hey, we need better sales. We just put organic on the label. That they can't do that.
Or they'll put like natural.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they just can't do that because that's what they think is going to work. They have to approve in what they are doing and have approval for that label to be applied to their products.
Right. So that is another myth.
The organic is $2 more than the conventional. Let's be real, whenever you're trying to hit a budget of groceries, it gets very hard to do if you choose or are trying to consume organic produce when you purchase half as much for twice the value, for twice the much dollars.
Right. So then another myth is that organic farms are more sustainable. This can go either way, and it can be like what your definition of sustainability is. So most farmers do care about sustainability, and that doesn't matter if they're organic or conventional, and they're going to typically do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons, and their livelihoods are tied to the land, the water, the air, etc. And you can probably speak about this. Because
if they don't do what is ethically correct, the USDA will come in and go, hey, you've toxified this, or you've done this wrong. You're going to get fined because now you've toxified water, lake, groundwater. You've sprayed manure in an area where you're not supposed to, or the runoff is now contaminating the streams, and now all the aquatic life is damaged, or the runoff from chemicals in which are sprayed in agriculture, big ag. There's criteria in which common sense dictates I could do this because I got to get rid of this product or XYZ. But if I do and the wrong person sees me, it's too big of a risk because I could lose everything I've worked 40 years for.
Exactly. And it's as you know, it's a generational thing where the most farms are passed down for generations. Right. So it doesn't mean just because this conventional farm is out here, polluting waterways, polluting the air, or whatever, that doesn't really have any bearing on how they're going to be sustainable or practice good conservation methods. that organic, non-organic, it doesn't really make a difference.
Because they are trying to figure out how to cut costs but still get value out of the land. For example, a dairy farm. We see this up in where we're from, the Wisconsin area. Instead of just spreading the manure, the liquid manure, over top of the ground where it will, it smells, the neighbors won't like it. They are knifing it in to get everything they can in the soil and the subsoil. So they mask the smell, so they're conscious of that. And two, they're conscious of runoff. If they was to spread it and a big rain comes, some of that will run off into waterways. They knife it in, which means they cut trenches and pump it into the trenches as they're going across the field to get it underground, to mask the smell, to prevent runoff, to get as much value out of that byproduct of the animal as possible, to minimize the amount of fertilizer in which one has to apply, which again can affect runoff, aquatic life, and waste money. If your fertilizer is running off the field and going in the stream, you're not getting any value out of that, whether you want or like aquatic life or not.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point. Do we have time for one more?
Let's go one more.
So another one is organic farms don't care about, or they only care about animal welfare. You can speak to that conventional organic doesn't matter. You still care about the animal.
You care about the animals because if you, in an animal-based farm, the animal is what brings value. If you do not take care of your animal, or the animal is sick or diseased and it spreads to the herd, the value of that herd, whether you're milking it or you're raising it for meat, has diminished. You have nothing, because when you go and sell the animal, they are very particular about the size of the animal, the health of the animal, and these farmers have reputations that, so-and-so, the Smith's farm always brings top quality pork or beef to the market. So we're going to, as a buyer or as a butcher, I know that they have top quality. So I'm going to buy it a little bit higher because I know what to expect, and it's good quality stuff. You can't make a living on just halving it and thinking, oh, nobody's going to see. They may not see the first time, but they will remember every time after that.
That's some good points. So you know who doesn't half it?
Walton's Incorporated.
And speaking about meat, Walton's has what you need to get things to make good tasting meat products. So they have the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, and sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more. Again, that's waltonsinc.com, and the code is GROW50, GROW50.
When we return, we're going to discuss how green is really the green industry. This kind of ties into the first aspect of the organic stuff. We'll discuss all of that in great detail when we return. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order. Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com, use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order. Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com. Make hand watering easy and enjoyable with HoseLink retractable hose reels. No more tripping over hoses, kinks, tangles, and avoiding rolling the hose up. With an automatic retractable hose link, saves you time and effort manually coiling up your hose, leaving your focus on the things that will bring you joy in your garden. Available in multiple colors and lengths, you'll be sure to find the retractable hose that works for you. To find out more and to buy online via hoselink.com, use coupon code radio10 for $10 discount. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. That coupon code is ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your day. If you've missed any of the coupon codes that you have heard or will hear in the program, go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and underneath the Money tab at the top of the page, they're all listed for you, just like our friends at Honey Bee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives, attracting pollinators to your garden. This year's is simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar water and Honey Bee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators can coexist peacefully. Honey Bee Healthy is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honey Bee Healthy Original to this show's listeners. Use code BEEGARDEN at checkout for more information, mixing instructions, and to purchase products, visit honeybeehealthy.com. So,
how green is the green industry? Now, before we get into this, we all have our opinions about this particular topic. And if you want a successful society that thrives, we all have different opinions, and it's okay to have different opinions if we can respectively sit across from each other and voice our opinions like adults and not like kindergartners. Then we're in a better society. And this is not just for this is for anything. We can peacefully coexist if we listen to each other's opinions and then take the best from everybody and go together.
But if your opinion's wrong, what am I supposed to do?
Respectfully disagree and point out in a respectful manner, here's why that information is incorrect or doesn't make sense.
All right.
We can do this as a society. We can.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time. All right. So there's some, I just decided to cover myths because I feel like that's kind of fun. So electric cars are always eco-friendly. And I feel like this is such a myth and a lot of people don't understand it because you think to yourself, I have an electrical vehicle. I'm not emitting emissions out into the air because of my electrical vehicle.
First person, you're not. You're not emitting first person.
No, right. So you yourself are not emitting.
Correct.
Yes. And you're also not utilizing personally purchasing fossil fuels, which means in your brain, and you can come for me, bro. In your brain, you're like, I'm not having any sort of environmental impact. However, it depends on various factors. So first, you got to think about where the electricity comes from.
Right.
And that usually comes from coal-powered or coal-source powered plants. Mm-hmm. And coal is a fossil fuel.
Right.
Right.
And whether you want to admit it or not, at certain points of the year where you're at in most locations, it's hard to get solar because it's dark, it's cloudy many days a week, and it's hard to get wind many times when there's no wind. How do you make power with those two means, which is great when they are working and everything's chiming together. But if there's no wind and it's been cloudy and snowy for 3 weeks, it's hard to recharge batteries on that level of green mindset. When you can do it, it's great. Utilize it.
Absolutely. And so then another thing to point out is that the production of these batteries, and it's not just electrical vehicle batteries, it's like batteries, they extract rare minerals like lithium and cobalt, which have environmental and ethical consequences. So they are trying to improve it, supposedly.
Tonnage of rock in order to get a few ounces of the crucial minerals in which is needed to make certain aspects of electric, not only vehicles, but electric products. And we're talking about power stations when you go camping, or emergency station power stations, that type of thing. It's not just the electric car.
Right. It's all even in your phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you're true green, you won't have a phone.
True.
Yeah.
True. So another myth is that natural gas is a clean energy source. While natural gas does emit less emissions, it is still, it is not a clean energy source necessarily. It may emit less emissions, but they do have to use fracking or hydraulic fracturing, which can lead to contamination of the groundwater, habitat disruption, and possibly even earthquakes. So it is also to keep in mind that it can contribute to climate damage or natural resource damage, etc.
And I'm sure in that aspect, there is a responsible, better way to go about extracting that, whether it is a fracking aspect. But some people and it's just get it in, get it out, make the money, keep going. But we've seen now with, I guess it's the Department of Natural Resources, they have put more strategic and stringent requirements or regulations around it, so they can do the job. It does cost more, and they get the end result they're looking for, but it is a higher cost. So that may be the offset. Hey, we're not doing as much damage as we would have if these regulations was not in place. So we're having to raise the rate a little bit, but we're still extracting the things in which we need, and we don't have to import that material.
Definitely. Yeah.
And we're trying to come at this as a very neutral, factual level here, and a little common sense in any aspect of life goes quite a long ways.
Right, and that's the thing, is that it's facts.
Because if you want your political aspect, you can listen to the conservative stations that we're on, or the liberal stations we're on, and get it on other programs. We're just trying to bring you the facts of the facts here, and it calls us all to think a little bit about what we may be or may not be doing to help everything out.
Right. So then I wanted to address single-use plastics are recycled effectively and efficiently, and they're not.
Especially the higher numbers.
Yeah, recycling is kind of a myth, and a lot of people find it hard to accept, especially when they're being forcibly required to recycle by their municipality, which is totally fair.
Which may or may not be actually being recycled.
Right. So many plastic products, especially the ones that are made from like low quality plastic, mixed materials, etc., they are challenged to recycle. A lot of the recycling plants don't have the capabilities, thank you, to recycle them, so they often end up in landfills. So
in certain municipalities, on the plastic, there's that little triangle and there's a number. Some municipalities, we only accept 1, 2, 3, and 4, and if it's a 5, 6, or 7, throw it in the trash. And or vice versa. There's some combination of what we accept and what we don't accept. And then in some, you got to clean it. You got to scrub it out. You got to put it through your dishwasher in order for us to accept it. You can't be dirty. It's a whole thing. Are we really benefiting it if we have to, find out, 1, what number is? 2, we've got to clean it out before we put it in a recycling bin so they will accept it, and or so we don't get fined because we're not properly recycling, and it's a whole big deal there.
Right. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially if you are like, I'm a die-hard recycler. I take my my recyclables to the transfer station or the recycling place, which is cool. You should do that. But then you're also burning fossil fuels.
Right.
And you're probably not it's probably not really balancing out as much as you think it is.
It's not. It never balances out. It's like whenever you send a birthday card to somebody with $20, and then somebody else sends you just keep, it's that back and forth. Oh, so and so here, happy birthday. Here's $20, and then like a year later, you get a birthday card with $15. So you're like,
I know, but you get the joy of your birthday gift.
I know.
It's not keep your $20. Anyway, but one thing I want to mention is that there's a 100 bajillion reusable water bottles out there that you can purchase. And I would just think that if you are trying to do good for the environment or climate or whatever, it may be natural resources, stop drinking bottled water and think, I'm doing good because I'm drinking bottled water, I'm recycling it. No, I understand the need for bottled water in certain situations, like say you're going on a vacation somewhere, like whatever, and you don't have the ability to have clean water. That totally makes sense. But if it's something in your home or workplace or whatever, you can buy filters. You can buy filters for your water bottles. There's all sorts of options for you. We have a sink filter and we use reusable water bottles.
There's countertop filters that are completely gravity only, and it's great if you're going to use that water bottle. But we, just like everybody else, we don't use one. We've got like 5 or 6. And then some people like, oh, that's the new one. I got to buy the new one every year.
Right.
So you're not really accomplishing anything but spending money on something that, it's filling the cabinets up. And then in 10 years, all of it goes to the thrift store or in the trash or at a yard sale.
Right. But I do have, I know like my main water bottle I've had for a number
I think you've only got like 2, maybe 3 tops.
Yeah.
There's some people that have like a special one for everything.
And a couple of them I have in case I leave like one in my car and then I have it and then I can, So
and green and battery and that type of thing. Like let's for example, chainsaws. There's battery operated chainsaws and there's gas powered chainsaws. Both have their places. If you're here's my example. If you're just gonna have you need a couple of trims of the trees every year and you don't want to buy a heavy bulky gas chainsaw and the oil and gas mix and the oil, an electric one is fine. But here's the catch. And if you're going to, go camping and you have your own property and you're doing a lot of firewood cutting, a gas one makes more sense. Here's the other thing. Whenever a bad storm comes through and rips all the power lines down and you've got to start cutting trees in order to get access to parts of your property, when the battery runs out on that electric one, that's all the power you got. With a gas-powered one, most people will have 1, 2, 3 gallons stored up, ready to use. So you got a little more and a lot more opportunity to get done what you need done in order to make life begin operating again.
Right. So that's... Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's go one more.
All right. So the final fact here, myth, is that renewable energy sources are harmless to wildlife. They're not completely harmless. They're less harmful than other energy sources, but things like wind turbines, bats and birds can fly into them. If they're not, they can pose that threat. However, it is less threatening than like fracking or oil spills, etc. And then solar farms can displace vegetation and disrupt that ecosystem during the construction. Unless, you put it on a building or something that's already there, that's different. But if you're just
in an open field, you're taking away from potential crops being grown there, and then you have to deal with the weeds and the grass that could grow over top of them. And then some people will have goats or animals that will go in that will eat that away, and assuming that they don't tear the wires off while they're going through and eating the grass away from the whole solar panels. So. And places like Pocono International Raceway up in the Poconos up there, they run their whole complete racetrack all with the solar field on the back side of the property.
Right.
They don't. I'm assuming they pump it back into the network, but they don't consume power off the grid. They make what they use.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways. I'm just saying that it's if you think this is completely harmless to wildlife, it's not, but it's better than other things.
Well, summer is in full swing, Holly, and the nasty Japanese beetles are in your garden wreaking havoc.
If you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone. Beetle Gone is derived from naturally occurring soil bacteria. Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder with water and spray on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pest will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, you know it's a great choice to use on your fruits and veggies in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only is Beetle Gone the best and works great, this product is also safe to be used around beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees, and has no water toxicity. Go to BeetleGone.com to find out more information about it. You can go to their parent website, PhylumBioproducts.com, to find all the products they have available. So BeetleGone.com or PhylumBioproducts.com. When we return, Graham Gardner will be with us. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Are you ready to take control of your home's comfort? With Mr. Cool DIY Direct, empower yourself with our top-notch do-it-yourself cooling and heating solution. Introducing the Mr. Cool 4th Generation Mini Split, the DIY-friendly way to keep your home perfectly comfortable all year round. Our systems come with everything you need for installation, including our patented pre-charge line sets, eliminating the need for expensive professional help. Visit MrCoolDIYDirect.com to learn more and to take the first step towards a cooler, more comfortable home. Don't forget, use promo code GARDEN for a special discount and free nationwide shipping. Mr. Cool DIY Direct. Cool your house, heat your space, all by yourself. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Water supply tanks provide BPA-free, long-term, safe storage for drinking water from 35 to 1,500 gallon tanks. Water supply tanks has you covered. From preparing for unexpected needs, off-grid property, easy gardening access, and more. For questions and to order, visit watersupplytanks.com and use coupon code GARDENING10 to save 10% off your order.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated seed company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG24 to save 10% off your order at jungseed.com. The coupon code is 10TG24 at jungseed.com for 10% off.
Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow, stimulates the natural enzymes, and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net.
Take the guesswork out of composting with the AeroBin 400 or smaller 200 for easy composting. The AeroBin mimics how nature decomposes waste. The AeroBin is easy to use. You prepare your balanced organic waste, just open it up, drop it in, and close. After a short time, fertile compost is produced, which is easily accessed via the lower side door. The thermal insulation in the AeroBin conserves heat, leading to rapid breakdown of the biomass and works efficiently year-round, even in cooler regions. There is no need to turn the biomass, and it is patent rodent resistant. It has little odor and can kill annoying weeds and seeds. It is BPA free. The AeroBin 400 or 200 comes with a reservoir at the bottom to collect the leachate. When diluted, makes for great compost tea liquid fertilizer. AeroBin composts kitchen and garden waste quickly. Easy to assemble with no special tools needed. The AeroBin makes composting rewarding and easy. Go to Costco.com to purchase.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy that you've chose us to be part of your day. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Graham Gardner has over 25 years of experience in landscape design and project management in public, private, and nonprofit sectors. Beyond his residential design projects, he has worked with agencies such as the Denver Parks Department, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Rhode Island Natural History Survey, as well as cooperative extension offices. friends of parks groups and native plant societies. His latest book is called Tiny and Wild. He is now a flower farmer in Puerto Rico. Welcome to the program, Graham.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to join not only Holly and myself and all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. What is a native plant smith?
I think that's a great question. You're actually the first to ask. I used to use my last name, Gardner, because I thought it was apropos, Gardner Designs. And then in 2011, I was asked to compete in the outdoor landscape exhibit at the Newport Flower Show, and thought it was a good time to rebrand. My family had a custom home company which prided itself on hiring the best craftsmen, and so I borrowed the smith from blacksmith, goldsmith, wordsmith, and coined the plantsmith. And then my passion at the time, and continues to be, native plants. I was involved in the Native Plant Society and other restoration projects, and I wanted to get the word out on the importance of connecting native plants and local ecology. So I became the native plantsmith.
That's really creative. That's cool. So what inspired you to become a flower farmer, to go from, working with the public plant or project management, etc., to then becoming a flower farmer?
Well, I've always enjoyed all aspects of design, and working in gardens. I would create flower arrangements to highlight what was currently blooming in people's yards or in landscapes, to bring those indoors and call people's attention to them. So when I moved to Puerto Rico, I knew that I wanted to be involved in the agroecology movement here, and to be part of the farming land management group. And flowers kind of seemed like a natural fit for me. So I was approached by one of the, I would say, premier flower farms on the island after they had read my book, and I had visited a few times, to join their team. And since November of last year, I've been working alongside them, expanding the farm and using some of the techniques from the book, rather than single, traditional agriculture, single species in single rows. I'm planting in mixed design, so that it's more of a meadow, and yet it still fulfills the production aspect of a continuous bloom, and we're able to cut a variety of species and keep that going.
Now, for people who have inquisitive minds, did you know what you were getting into when you moved to Puerto Rico? It's growing zone 11 to 13, I think, compared to where some of the places you have been. It must have, it was quite a bit of a change.
Absolutely. No, I'm still playing catch up on that. I've been here for 3 years, and you turn your back for a day or two, and the jungle comes back behind you. So it's quite different. In Denver, we received about 11, I believe, between 11 and 15 inches of rain a year. I farm and live near the bottom of the rainforest, and we get 80 inches per year. In Rhode Island, we got 44. So it's rainfall, it's soil type, it's all those same things that you would use in your own landscape to determine what species are best, but on a much different level. And certainly being able to grow 12 months out of the year versus having a dormant season is I'm super excited about, because I am so passionate about plants. And so this is the first opportunity I've had to grow 12 months of the year.
And I'm assuming the insects or the dangerous animals are a new venture as well to deal with those.
Yeah, it depends. Fortunately, there aren't too many dangerous animals, but the insects are completely different. And the island is so diverse that I've lived in 4 or 5 different locations so far, and each one has its own distinct microclimate, soils. I believe we have 9 of the 13 soil types just on the main island. So the ecoregions are quite diverse, and each one has its own benefits and limitations, and you got to just keep on your toes.
Fantastic. So you, your most recent book is called Tiny and Wild, Build a Small Scale Meadow Anywhere. Could you tell us more about your book and what could pique our listeners' interest to pick up a copy and look into it and the concepts there?
Sure. So I wrote Tiny and Wild to make my design approach accessible to all, regardless of the size of their landscape or even access to land. It teaches the process of creating meadows at any scale, especially small. And I think that's an important access point for a lot of people that think of meadows as these vast spaces that may overwhelm them. So it could even be a group of containers on a balcony if you don't have land access. When I lived in Denver, aside from joining community gardens, I didn't actually have land for the first time. So I had, 25 containers on my balcony and was doing the best I could with that limited space. So this is kind of teaching my own process of how to get inspired, how to locate the appropriate spot on your property, how to do site assessment, how to prepare the land, how to do the research and get inspired, create your plant list, and then the design fundamentals. It's written in a zone agnostic way so that it's more about process than it is about recipe. And it encourages people to link up to their natural spaces around them, to their native plant societies, to the outdoor groups that have plant enthusiasts, so they can really get in touch with what makes a place unique. And there's maintenance, installation. It walks you through the whole process. It's the 101 entry level, but I think even with more established gardeners, perhaps meadows seem maybe overwhelming, or they're used to seeing meadow in a can, mixed results, or they live in an HOA situation where they really have to demonstrate the design aesthetics. And so that was the focus. And a lot of the book includes about 65-70% of the book is my own photography from work I've done over the years. So it's between the photos and the simplicity. I think it's approachable for not from novice to moderate experience, and even some of my friends who are more advanced have said that they find it to be a good resource to recommend to their clients and to share with their neighbors. So I would recommend checking it out. It also has an extensive resource section at the back from the people that inspired me, other designers, other gardens to visit, and yeah, that would be my my pitch there.
So you mentioned meadows. Why meadows versus lawns? And if one wants to have a meadow but doesn't want to get rid of the lawn, can it be incorporated? Can you have a little bit of both?
Absolutely. Yes. I actually don't know who first stated it, but it's been bounced around a lot. And I mention it in the book, and I use it in my talks. If you think of a lawn as an area rug, in the most active locations that you program on your property, where the kids play, or where you have the chaise lounges, or where you do outdoor dining, or maybe your path system throughout the landscape, then all the rest of that space can be activated and turned into meadow. And I'm not opposed to lawn. I think absolutely has its place. It's easy to maintain, busy lives, and just being able to mow. It certainly has its advantages. On the flip side of that, there's an extensive carbon footprint for running those machines, and there's the cost of hiring companies potentially if you can't do it yourself. So meadows over time, right? They don't happen overnight, and so I don't want to say they're maintenance free, but over the longer term, once they're established, there's a potential to step back and allow them to be dynamic. They'll still be editing. You'll still have to monitor for invasive plants, but the water and inputs of, fertilizer or anything else will be greatly reduced, and you will be inviting so many more species onto your property to observe, to just live amongst, and also the dynamism of watching various flowers bloom, especially if you're choosing things that are local to your area. It's a real connecting point. Instead of thinking of nature as something that's out there in the preserves, you get to invite it onto your property. So if you think of the lawn as an area rug, even if it's a big one, you can slowly use those borders and encircle yourself with biodiversity and more life.
That's definitely, I like that comparison, that analogy. So, what are some tips on watering a meadow versus a lawn? I know that the meadow, I think, can be a little bit more self-sustaining and less water usage. Is that correct? What are some tips there?
Yes, over the long term, once the plants are established, I would say especially if you're choosing more of a native palette, most of those plants don't require water unless there's an extended drought or you're maintaining for a certain aesthetic. And in fact, if you're overwatering, you can get floppy plants because you're just giving them too much nurture. So lawns are highly resource intensive, and in terms of establishment, it really depends on, your local rainfall, the species that you're including, the soil type that you have, the microclimate that you're working within, whether you're working from a 1-gallon plant, which is going to be more cost, present more of an upfront cost, or if you're working from seeds may, depending on the time of year, seeds may require a daily light watering to keep the soil surface damp until they germinate or until they get to a certain stage. It's really highly dependent, but the idea is that over the long term, it's going to greatly reduce your water consumption. And that's an important thing for a lot of the United States and the world, for outdoor landscapes, reducing water.
Absolutely. Well, Graham, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us and the education you've shared with not only Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. How can people find out more about you and get your book?
So I am currently paused on social media. However, my account is still active, and I do check it occasionally. That would be Native Plantsmith on Instagram. And I will be relaunching in the next month or two with the new flower farm project and incorporating both. So people can reach me on Instagram at Native Plantsmith or at Native Plantsmith directly at gmail.com. Native Plantsmith at Gmail directly. Feel free to reach out. And then the book is available at your library, at your local bookstore. Most likely, it's been very widely appreciated. It got the American Horticulture Award for 2024, and I just found out about a new award from another organization. So I don't point people directly to any one specific source. My publisher, Cuarto Publishing, has a landing page that points you to various websites that you can also find the book.
Well, Graham, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom you shared with us. We appreciate that very much.
I very much appreciate the invitation. Thank you to you both.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's Your Garden Questions, Our Garden Answers. You're tuned in the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com. MegaCatch.com.
Happy 65th anniversary to David J. Frank, southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com.
Your mosquito frustrations are over. Now with MegaCatch, suitable for residential and commercial use. MegaCatch mosquito traps produce a vast array of mosquito-attracted stimuli, including safe CO2, and can attract mosquitoes and other biting insects up to 150 feet away. Easy to use and set up. The MegaCatch is ready to make your outdoor space comfortable and enjoyable at MegaCatch.com. Use coupon code JOEYB, my name Joey B, at checkout and receive 20% discount on your entire trap order at MegaCatch.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA BioPreferred certified? You bet. Say goodbye to Roundup and hello to No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. Safe around pets, No More Weeds has a proprietary sticking agent to use around gardens, pools, decks, patios, anywhere there are weeds. Available online at natgreenproducts.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Order yours today. The same great company that brings you No More Bugs. Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Time for garden questions and answers. Send them on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or give us a call toll free, 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. We'll see what we can work through to the top of the hour.
All right, so we had a question come in via email?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. I have an issue with my rhubarb plants. I have 2 rhubarb plants, each in a 10-gallon fabric grow bag on bright flagstone patio in Southern California. It gets hot out there. I bought them as 4-inch plants at a nursery in this past May. The rhubarb was beautiful initially, grew huge leaves, but now it's dropping leaves. The edges are turning gray, splotches on the leaves. Most of the stalks look good, and then there's this, kind of disease look. I did look it up. There are some diseases that rhubarb gets, and most of what I read is just to discard the plants. I'm at a loss at this point. I don't know what's going on with them, if the stalks are any good. Most of my plants, tomatoes, potatoes, tomatillo, are looking very ragged, and one person at the local garden center saw a picture of my tomatoes and said it looked like the leaves were burning, just too hot out there. Thank you. So, rhubarb is only ideal for zones 3 to 8, and I looked this up. Southern California is 9 and 10 zones.
So it's way out of, and that's the thing here. They bought it at a garden center, which probably was selling plants. We've got garden centers here in our area. You do too, that sell plants outside of what's.
I mean, they sell like avocado trees up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That outside. So it's not the fault of the consumer. It really is the education of the garden center to the consumer. Hey, tropical, okay, fine. Give me more information than that. Properly, year round, type of thing.
As far as, so I would, if you do think it is disease, which it might be, but it sounds like it's just burning up.
It's outside of its.
Yeah, it's outside of its zone.
Yeah.
But if it is possibly diseased, then you would want to toss them. As far as growing rhubarb again, you would have to.
Don't do it.
I mean, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't.
Farmers market or.
But yeah, but you can. There are different ways to find, whether it be articles or books or whatever for your growing zone, how to do it. When I was kind of researching this question, it does say you can get creative with shade and etc. for Southern California. If you are like that into rhubarb, you could put in the effort.
Your family's not.
No, absolutely not.
Won't even let me put it in the ground at the garden.
It's not allowed.
It's got to be in containers.
So
what happened?
I'm not telling you. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
So yeah, as far as the tomatoes, tomatillos, potatoes, etc., it's possible again that this is too hot.
In Texas, there's a dormant area where they don't grow anything.
Yeah, non-growing time, and that might be the case here. So,
Didn't this viewer say that they were new at gardening or relatively new? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So that is the answer, not only for that individual, but for anybody outside of that zone that is listening to us via podcast replay or in-studio video. There's only certain areas in which certain produce will grow good or successfully. So be sure you're aware of what you're trying to grow and where it should be grown before you try to grow it. Can I overwater tomatoes in a planter, Holly?
Yes, you can overwater the planter. You want the soil to be damp 2 inches below the soil. So you would just put your finger there to kind of check. And then you can use mulch to help keep that moisture in. You don't want to water excessively. You just want to water efficiently. So checking to make sure your plants do need water, even if the top of the soil looks a little bit dry, they might not need it, versus checking so that you can keep it efficiently watered.
Well, let's go to the other side of that, as they say, coin. You can water your container and think it's watered, but it's really not watered because the water is running through, the soil is to the point of almost hydrophobic or repelling water, or it just it finds a easy way out, so it just keeps running out the bottom of the grow bag or the container. So you're going to have to work and water that plant very, very thoroughly. Once you get that hydration in the soil, then it's going to be easier for that next watering to occur. But you would be absolutely amazed at how much water it takes to hydrate a 10-gallon grow bag that is almost completely bone dry, and how long it takes. So we want to avoid allowing these situations to occur so we can continue the moisture, because once the soil gets to about powder dry, your plant has already been toasted. So be aware of that and utilize mulch even in containers. Perfectly fine with that. All right. Can I use AC or air conditioning water for my garden? The outspout that comes out of the house drips, or the window unit that drips?
You absolutely can. So you can use it to water your plants. It's totally safe. You could use it to clean, if you wanted to rinse something off, etc. There's no problem with that. It's basically just like the same condensation method that if you had a glass of like cool iced water, that condensation that forms on the outside of that glass.
Would like a glass of water without the water?
Yes.
Cold glass of water without the water.
Yeah. I don't think I would drink the air conditioning condensation water.
No, it's not recommended because there can be bacteria in that through the coils in which the freon flows through. The freon is obviously not mixing in with the water, but there can be bacteria. So if you're wanting to consume that, proper filtration is important to consume that water. But utilizing in water, and if you're cleaning it and you're using a product mixing in with the water, like a soap or whatever, or using it in the garden, like you said, because the soil has what is called a buffering capacity in which it is safe to use, or it will protect itself.
Filter out that bacteria or protect itself, yeah. And that's perfectly fine. I know we have done that with the water. There's a church right by my mom's house. Is that where we got it from?
Correct.
Yeah, and we got the water from the condensation from their air conditioner, and it worked out quite well. So that is definitely an option that you can utilize. It's smart. It's smart to utilize, what you can to conserve water, especially if you are, I know people are saying utilities aren't getting any cheaper, so.
We've come to the portion of the program, Holly, where we discuss what we learned today.
So I kind of knew this, it is a common myth that organic food is safer than non-organic, and I just like that it's becoming known that that's a myth.
I learned that our guest Graham Gardner, who is in Puerto Rico and has a flower farm, that there's really not that many problems, at least at this point, with insects and animals. I kind of had a misconception of, you're in a tropical island, you're probably gonna have snakes and these monkeys and all, what you think tropical things would just be coming in and ransacking your garden. You don't know what you don't know, but also you shouldn't think what you know before you check to make sure what you know is correct. Right. What we learned today is brought to you by Honey. Be healthy.
Whether you're a gardener, a bee hobbyist, or a professional beekeeper, Honeybee Healthy Inc. has the products to help you maintain a healthy hive and thriving garden. For more information on how to use Honeybee Healthy in your garden, visit honeybeehealthy.com. Tune in next week,
where we will be discussing understanding soil nutrient, what it is and all that goes into it, as well as building a wildlife habitat on your property so we all can coexist. As well as our guest, Nancy Larson, will be with us, also discussing some of that habitat for all of us to coexist with the animals around us. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.